Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now we have Quicksilver's deep dive breakdown out on the channel already, and now it's Galan's turn. He does look crazy, I'm not gonna lie. He does look quite bonkers, with ability to turn any cosmic champion into a herald, giving them extremely cool bonuses, then with ability to basically gain stupid amounts of buffs. It completely immune to Nullify for the cosmic champion. I'm gonna be honest, that kind of feels a bit filthy and wrong. On top of being immune to all Nullify effects, he's also immune to power steal, drain, lock, and everything to do with power control. So it does seem quite busted. It really does. Right, he's gonna have access to huge amounts of physical and energy resistance, regeneration, unblockable, true sense, huge amounts of burst damage, and God knows what else. So there's going to be a ton. And even a 4-star was putting out some really respectable numbers. So here we can see that, what is it, true sense to bypass auto block and miss mechanics. That's kind of cool. Unblockable, regeneration, all of that other stuff. It's a lot. It is a lot. PI did not seem quite as high as Quicksilver, so I do not think he's going to be a prestige powerhouse. I think they're leaving that specifically to Quicksilver. Right, let's get to his mechanics. So he starts each quest with 1 persistent solar intensity charge. This becomes 2 when defending, 3 if a final boss. When Galan defeats a non-dimensional being, he gains 1 additional solar intensity. So basically every fight he wins, he gains 1 solar intensity up to 3. At the start of the fight, gain 1 indefinite intensify passive for each solar intensity, each increasing the potency of all future buffs by 20%. So that is kind of his ramp up. Based on how many charges, you can get 0 up to 60% buff potency for all your future buffs. At 3 solar intensity, all of Galan's special attacks gain true sense buff, bypassing the effects of miss and auto block. He can use 2 of these solar intensity charges to make new heralds by using cosmic seeds, basically. Cosmic seeds and heralds. So here we go. Once per quest, Galan can consume 2 solar intensity in the pre-fight menu to place a cross-fight cosmic seed on the next fight. The next cosmic champion, excluding Galan, to enter this fight gains seed and becomes herald for the rest of the quest. Whenever herald emerges victorious, the seed will grow in power to grant abilities. Up to 5, basically, victories is what counts. So 0+ victories, heralds reduce the potency of all power burn effects by 100%, so making them immune to power burn. Kind of neat. Nothing too crazy. 1+ victories, heralds gain 7% resistance to all damaging debuffs for each victory. I think on a 6-star champion, this is 10%. At least Dave said it's 10% in the video. So I think that's for the 6 stars. But still, this automatically makes any cosmic champion basically Liquid Courage Double Edge friendly. Because if you have, in this case, it would be, what, so 35% or 50% resistance to all damaging debuffs. That's, you know, gonna help you heal with Liquid Courage Double Edge. It's really, really cool. And then with 2+ victories, heralds become unblockable when launching a special attack into opponent's block. This buff lasts for the duration of the special attack, with 1 additional second added for each victory once activated. This goes on cooldown for 24 seconds. So basically each champion can gain a decent length unblockable buff here as well. So that's kind of nice. It's not the most OP ability. I do think that Apox Horseman ability overall is more powerful because immunity to bleed is more potent, and the rest of the abilities are slightly better. But this is very good too, because it can also make you Liquid Courage Double Edge friendly for all cosmic champions. Tan biology, always active. Galan's overworldly nature provides immunity to fate seals and nullify effects. Does not provide immunity to staggers and neutralizes though. Just saying. Additionally, the Staff of Ta prevents Galan's power and grants immunity to power drain, burn, lock, or special lock. That's really powerful as well, especially combined with the Nullify immunity. Galan's first light attack and second medium attack strike with the planetary side of the Staff of Ta, granting Galan 1 indefinite resist physical buff, increasing physical resistance by 80, but it maxes out at 20 stacks. And these buffs can be more potent thanks to his pre-fight abilities. Also, first medium attack strikes with the solar side of the Staff of Ta, granting 2 energy resist buffs, increasing energy resist by the same amount. So he's going to be gaining quite a big amount of resistances, both physical and energy ones. Building additional resistance buffs while at their maximum quantity will replace previous versions with an updated potency, thus basically making them more potent. Okay. Planetary Mass and Harvest. Now this is kind of going to be his bigger damage mechanic. Whenever Galan gains a buff, his planetary mass is increased by 10. Galan also gains 50 planetary mass whenever the opponent gains an armor of effect. He can gain up to 999 planetary mass. When Galan is knocked down by a special attack, he loses 30 planetary mass per bar spent. Landing a heavy attack with 100 or more planetary mass will trigger the Harvest. Activating the Harvest on attack prevents Galan from building power over 1 building power if over 1 bar of power. So basically, in order to activate Harvest, you need to be able to land a heavy attack. On defense, it activates automatically when reaching 100. But here's the kicker. The Harvest lasts for 14 seconds. When the Harvest ends, Galan consumes all planetary mass to deal a burst of 199.3 direct damage for each planetary mass consumed. This damage scales with base attack only and is halved on defense. Thank God for that, because it's a lot of damage. It is quite a lot of damage. And yeah, so the entire base idea is to gain buffs, which is going to help you in build your planetary mass. Once you have reached a decent amount of planetary mass, drop your heavy attack, trigger Harvest. Harvest also can be ended earlier with special attacks and then deal a massive amount of burst damage. That burst damage is quite huge. It really is. Just showing that, you know, he still has all his regen. Also, when he enters Harvest, I believe he's unstoppable pretty much the entire way along there, which is just stupid, considering his Nullify and Fate Seal immunity. Just saying. His level 2 also gives him Intensified. Level 1, which I took a picture of here earlier, gives him 4 Fury buffs, and level 2 gives him 8 Intensify buffs, further increasing his buff potency in the fights. And level 2 also inflicts Incinerates. 1 Incinerate for each of the last 3 hits if you're not in Harvest, 3 Incinerates if you are in Harvest on that level 2. But they also basically close down your Harvest once you activate special attack and deal that burst amount of damage. Here you can see in this fight it's like 87k against Terrax, but it can be even much higher than that as well. Now, signature ability. Whenever Galan prevents power drain lock or special lock effect from a non-mystic champion via immunity, he gains 3 indefinite physical resistance and energy resistance buffs rounded up. These buffs are the same as those gained from striking the opponent. So this is a fairly niche thing. This is really not all that important thing. I think there will be a couple of matchups where it is quite helpful and important, but for the most part, it's not going to be that important. However, while the Harvest is active, Galan becomes stun immune and deals a burst of 100 direct damage whenever Galan gains any amount of planetary mass. This damage scales is base attack only as well. So getting stun immunity, again, it's nice, but overall I don't think he has the most kind of meaningful signature ability. And since it's not dealing 100 damage for each planetary mass that you gain, but just every time, I don't think this ability also, like, you know, can deal that much extra damage. So I don't think he necessarily has to be awakened. So we already checked this out. He does have, obviously, his synergies with Herald that are really cool as well for some. For Airwalker, I do think this is quite a huge one as well. If this champion is a Herald, all unblockable special attacks inflict an additional 3 armor breaks and 3 dark eye debuffs. So that means he's going to be basically ramping up a lot quicker and being able to inflict much more armor breaks. So I do think this is going to kind of supercharge Airwalker. This CGR's signature ability, they wouldn't want to buff up CGR any more than they did, so they basically gave him the most useful Herald ability here, just increasing potency of his armor up effect. It's just like, wow. It is so useless that I kind of had a laugh because they had to have a synergy with CGR because he's a Herald of Galactus, and they are doing synergies with all of the Heralds. But CGR is just so strong already that they were like, let's just figure out the shittiest synergy that we can come up with, and let's give that one to CGR. Okay, that's fine. This one though is very cool. If this champion is Herald, Terex gains 60% combat power rate while Rock Field is active. Means his combat power rate is going to be significantly increased, and he's going to be able to upkeep his Rock Field for much longer in the fights, if not pretty much permanently. Which is just going to be crazy. I do think this kind of supercharges little Teddy over here. Also, with Silver Surfer, if this champion is a Herald performing special attack 1 while the current dormant icon and corresponding buffs exist, will also refresh all the buffs and grant a True Sense buff for 15 seconds. This ability cannot be activated if all 3 rotating buffs are active. I think this is neat. I don't think this is absolutely game-breaking. It just kind of makes it easier to manage Silver Surfer when you can drop your level 1 without worrying which buffs you have. But, you know, if you use Silver Surfer, then you're gonna understand that it's just kind of ease of use synergy, if anything else. True Sense is nice though, but considering that he kind of has vigilance already, it's not the biggest deal. Now, Heimdall and Nova. Now, with Heimdall, if this champion is Herald, Heimdall can now convert 8 buffs into infinite duration variations using heavy attack. It's not a big deal at all. Heimdall needs much more help like that. However, with Nova, if this champion is Herald, special attacks pause Nova's personal fury and unblockable effects for 8 seconds, and heavy attacks inflict non-stacking energy vulnerability debuff, lowering their energy resistance by 20%. I do think this is quite good for Nova. I do definitely think, because with this you can get up to max fury and kind of keep them for longer and easier, and have that energy vulnerability increasing your damage output as well. So I do think it's quite nice for Nova. Now, Venom the Duck. If this champion is a Herald, ending a combo with the light attack will remove all active symbiote buffs and increase aberration by 50%. This only activates while 1 buff is active. It's kind of neat, whatever. Red Goblin, if this champion is a Herald and below 41% health, enter Frenzy indefinitely. This is removed if Red Goblin goes above 41% health. I think this is very good for Red Goblin. For longer fights, because pop in a 40% revive and you spend the entire fight in Frenzy, and obviously Red Goblin gains massive benefits when he's in Frenzy. So I do like this synergy quite a lot. Again, it only activates, however, only when he's Herald, but it kind of makes me want to try and use him in Abyss, potentially, test him out, if I ever rank him up. And now with Colossus and Thanos, converting resistance into planetary mass creates an additional 5 planetary mass. That's nice, why not? Colossus special 1 attacks become passively unblockable when activated with 5 or more personal armor buffs. It's nothing serious, nothing too cruel. And Thanos, first time you would be knocked out, you go indestructible. Nah, he needs much more than that, obviously. This last one though, might be the best one. All incinerate debuff durations are paused by 50% with Mr. Fantastic. So Mr. Fantastic is already extremely amazing champion, obviously. And improving Galan, cool. Mr. Fantastic, however, whenever a personal debuff expires on the opponent, gain 20% of bar power. Letting this guy get even more power can result to even more silly things quicker. So I do think that this is quite a powerful synergy for Mr. Fantastic, and I definitely do want to test this one out as well. Overall, I definitely have to say that I'm very interested in this champion. I think he's going to be extremely useful as a cosmic champion that has access to Fury, access to like 50-60 buffs very easily and quickly, big amounts of burst damage, immunity to Nullify, immunity to Power Drain Steel lock, special lock, and also incinerates, obviously. So yeah, I do think they made him really strong. He does remind, obviously, initially, and this is very early on, with a lot of aspects, kind of with Apocalypse. I would say that many of the Apocalypse abilities do seem more potent, like the Horseman ability and stuff like that, but obviously this is different spin, and again, very early days, we can't possibly know the exact impact this is going to have on the game. However, He does look bloody OP. He really does. There's nothing that I can say. Again, making any Cosmic Champion compatible with Liquid Courage Double Edge can potentially have brutal consequences in longer form content. And then giving any Cosmics potentially unblockable buffs, and yeah. It does look very interesting. It does look very, very, very interesting. I definitely want to play around with this guy. Animations are cool as well. But let's obviously see how he lands in contest, how practical he's going to be, how his numbers actually translate. But it did look quite dang impressive. Let me know what you guys think so far about Galan, and I'm going to catch you guys later. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about